This idea that you can get rich just by creating social media content is absolutely bullshit.
Awesome.
By the way, do you want me to say bullshit or say BS?
Oh, you can say bullshit.
You will lose to a skilled salesperson every single time in real estate if you think that your Instagram video with no sales skills is going to get you listing contracts. It won't. No. What do you do from 8 to 8:30? What do you do from 8:30 to 9? What do you do from 9 to 9:30? What do you do from 9:30 to 10? My schedule is broken into 15-minute increments. The hardest truth about success is that the more successful you become, the more people are going to try to take you down. You just got to know that you're going to have a lot of haters, and that's a good sign the more haters you have. You got to go all in on whatever that is. You cannot have multiple irons in the fire. If you want to be successful in a business that you're starting, it's got to be your only option.
Jump in.
It's do or die. People feel good when they're talking. 101, when you're on the appointment, no matter what you're selling, the person who does the most talking loses.
All right, so who am I here with today and what do you do?
My name's Jeff Glover. I list and sell real estate. We've got a brokerage here. We've got 4 locations across Michigan. Residential real estate. I also run North America's fastest growing coaching and training organization for real estate agents called Glover U.
How many people attend that, by the way, in 1 year?
Our last event in January, we had 1,500 agents from all over North America. So We're in the thousands.
So what is the biggest bullshit advice do you see on the internet right now that just drives you nuts?
I would say that real estate agents can get rich by doing TikTok videos, funny TikTok videos. You see it constantly, and agents are actually doing it, and they're trying it. And the thing is that there are agents who make money off of social media videos, the goofy ones especially, but that's not the only thing they're doing. They either have a great database, or they've learned the skill of how to prospect and they've added this piece in, or they know how to hold great open houses. Like, they're doing something else in addition to that. This idea that you can get rich just by creating social media content is absolutely bullshit.
Awesome.
By the way, do you want me to say bullshit or say BS?
Oh, you can say bullshit. You should see some of the other people.
Okay.
They kind of go, yeah.
Okay.
They kind of go off.
All right.
What's the biggest lie people believe about getting rich in real estate?
Biggest lie they believe in getting rich in real estate, the lie is that they don't have to become a salesperson. The richest people that sell real estate all learn how to prospect. They all learned sales skills. When I first started, I wrote scripts every single day for 30 days. I chanted them every single day for 30 days. I role played them every single day for 30 days. This idea that you can get rich in real estate without learning any sales skills, and we hear it now more than ever because, it's 2026. So, AI can do everything for us, and video can do everything for us, and social media can do everything for us. No, you will lose to a skilled salesperson every single time in real estate if you think that your Instagram video with no sales skills is going to get you listing contracts. It won't.
Awesome. You sold 30 homes before you turned 21. What were you doing every day that nobody else was?
I was pounding the phones every single day. And I'm not talking like 60, 90 minutes. I'm talking 3 hours a day. And every single day I didn't have an appointment to go on, I went door knocking because that was my rule. I'm either going on an appointment today. If I don't have an appointment to go on, I'm going to go door knocking. I'm going to go try to find one. So every day in my schedule for years, it had blocked off from 4:30 to 6, listing appointment or door knock. Listing appointment or door knock. And if I had a listing appointment to go on, it was like a reward. I didn't have to door knock that day. But if I didn't have a listing appointment to go on, it was a penalty. I had to go door knock for an hour and a half. And the goal was, because I suit up every single day. You dress for what you want, not for what you have. You dress for what you want your calendar to say. Doesn't matter that I didn't have an appointment. I dressed for one every single day because if I didn't have one from over the phones, I was going to go knock on doors and try to get one. If I didn't have an appointment to go on, that was my penalty.
How did you handle rejection? Because if you're on the phones, I know it's not always pleasant. Knocking on the doors, I couldn't even imagine. How did you handle rejection? Because a lot of people are scared to even approach what you just did.
Well, number one, you got to have a short memory. And number two, you got to know that every time you get rejected, you get better for the next one. So I just kind of look at it like as an at-bat. Like I'm just going to be better for the next person that attempts to reject me. And maybe instead of rejecting me, they give me an opportunity to take the appointment because I'm now more skilled for that one because of the hundreds of rejections I got before that.
Awesome. If you lost it all tomorrow, no name, no team, no money, what's your first move?
Listing and selling real estate. It is absolutely, without question, the highest dollar per hour a individual can do in this world that I know of. I mean, if I think about the actual dollar per hour of all industries, listing and selling real estate is without question in the top 3, if not for sure the top 5. So I would be back at the doors every single day. We still prospect today. I still prospect with our people. So I'm still in the trenches. A lot of people are surprised to hear this, but I still list 6-8 homes per month. I'm still selling 70-80 homes per year. So I'm still in it with our people. But yeah, that if I lost it all, I would just be door knocking and making calls all day long.
Even 2026 right now here in Michigan.
Without question.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the one trait every person who actually makes it shares?
The one trait that everyone who makes it shares in common would be work ethic. And I would say the ability, work ethic and efficiency with their time, I would say. Work ethic is super important, but also doing the right things at the right times. You know, I hear from people all the time, what do you mean I work hard? I work 8 to 6 or I work 8 to 8. I put all the hours in, Jeff. No. What do you do from 8 to 8:30? What do you do from 8:30 to 9? What do you do from 9 to 9:30? What do you do from 9:30 to 10? My schedule's broken into 15-minute increments. So I look at my schedule, like for instance, this particular podcast, it's taking two quadrants of time. I got 4 per hour. That means I accomplish, before you got here, you saw me probably doing Zooms or whatever. If you would have noticed, which I didn't expect you to, everything I just did in the last hour while you guys were setting up were in 15-minute increments. So I had a 15-minute Zoom, I had a 15-minute meeting, I had a 15-minute presentation, and now, so for this is going to be, 2 to 3 15-minute quadrants of time. So in other words, I'll give you for instance, in the real estate industry, it's common that a lender will ask to meet with a realtor to pitch their services, pitch their programs, and realtors take them up on these meetings all the time. They schedule them for 1 hour. Okay, if I'm going to meet with a lender, which is smart to do because I want to know what's latest and greatest and what are the programs, you got 15 minutes. I can accomplish 4 things in 1 hour that most agents take 1 hour to do.
And compound that through 7 days a week.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yep. Well, 6. I don't work. I take Sundays off, but 6.
What's the hardest truth about success that no one warns you about?
The hardest truth about success is that the more successful you become, the more people are going to try to take you down. The more people are going to, try to find fault in what you do. The more people are going to try to, turn you into whatever board regulates your profession. The more average producers are going to talk behind your back. You just got to know that you're going to have a lot of haters, and that's a good sign the more haters you have.
And that's still happening today.
Oh yeah. Now the only difference today is because I train and coach real estate agents on how to list and sell more homes. People, especially first of all, in 49 states, no, I'm like, this guy's the gospel. We do whatever he says. In Michigan, people still see me as maybe a little bit of a threat, so they're kind of like, 1 foot in or dipping their toe in. But because I am training and sharing, I feel like less people are critical of me because they're actually see that I'm willing to help them list and sell more real estate, even though I'm also listing and selling real estate in the same market.
Okay. What trait do you think you need to make it that actually it's useless?
What trait do most people think you need that I think is useless?
To actually make it, to be successful. Is there something you see like, oh, you got to have this and that to become successful? Is there something that is just a waste of time for people that they shouldn't even dabble into?
Yeah, a waste of time would be thinking that all of your business is going to come from your network. You have to understand there's 2 types of people in this world. People you know, people you don't know. Which group's bigger?
Oh, the people you don't know.
Yeah. Right? So I was fortunate enough early on to have a broker that said, Jeff, you're not going to start doing business with your network for several years. They got to trust you. They got to trust you with the referrals, especially when I started, I was 19 years old. And so I went after the people that I don't know, and that group was much bigger. And because of that, I'm now well-rounded. Now I have business for my network, and I have no problem getting business from strangers. Most agents, and probably with a lot of professions, they stay in their network, and that limits them. There's a ceiling. You reach a law of diminishing returns on, your network is only growing so much. And yeah, maybe you add a few people per year or a few dozen people per year, but when you work the people that don't know you, I think about Metro Detroit as 4 million people. That group's a lot bigger than my network.
And any sales I've been in, by the way, they always say start with your network, but it's like the prospecting is much bigger.
I was the opposite.
Yeah.
I started with the people that I didn't know, and my network ended up growing and referring business and doing business with me once I had experience listing and selling real estate. That was also because I was kind of forced to, because I was young when I started. If you start at 40, 50 years old, people just perceive you've been doing this for a while. So yeah, and you probably have more of a network. But think about it, at 19 years old, who was my network?
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't going to be the parents of my friends that were going to trust me with their real estate. They just saw me, crash out on their couch the night before or whatever, right? So
Yeah, I never heard that. That's interesting. What kind of person should not start a business right now?
the person that should not start a business right now is someone who has a lot of distractions and a lot of irons in the fire. I think one of the biggest things people think, entrepreneurship, right? I'm an entrepreneur. Well, the problem with that is if you have other obligations in your life, you're not willing to make the sacrifices to go all in on whatever that business venture is. And so, you got to burn the boats. You got to go all in on whatever that is. You cannot have multiple irons in the fire. You got to, if you want to be successful in a business that you're starting, it's got to be your only option.
Jump in.
It's do or die.
Take us back to age 19. What was the moment you decided real estate?
Well, a lot of my friends were going to college and in high school, and I couldn't afford college basically. And so I could afford community college. A lot of my friends, their parents were paying for the college. I did not have that luxury. And so my thought process was, how can I get to a point where I'll be making as much money, if not more, than my friends who are going to be graduating college 4 or 5 years from now? How can I get there at the same time or even faster? And so at the time when I was in high school, I was selling furniture for Art Van. And, I was like, top 10 in the company. I was making good money as a senior in high school. And somebody in the store recommended that I get into real estate. And so I did real estate and I went to OCC, Oakland Community College, simultaneously. And real estate just took off.
So sales, because you worked at Circuit City too,
I
correct?
started at Circuit City when I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I did that until my senior year. And then my senior year, I was #1 in the state for Circuit City in 2001. Yes, in the state. And so at that point, and I was a junior in high school. So at that point, I actually wanted to go sell cars my senior year because I'm like, this is great. But cars was full time, and I was in high school. So a gentleman by the name of Eddie Blaine at Art Van took a chance on me to be in the sales, on the sales team at the Art Van in Westland. I went into the Novi store, they wouldn't hire me, so I went to Westland and they would. And I had a lot of success there, and then that's what led to real estate.
So how important is sales? I come from sales. It was an awkward space when I jumped in, but how did it shape you for today? And people that are watching, just tell them how important sales is and how it can shape someone's future. Not just for business, for anything.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand, people make a decision on who they're going to hire or buy a product from based on how you make them feel. So how do you make someone feel a certain way? Everything you say, everything they see about you on social media before you show up, the way you carry yourself, your charisma. People are creating a feeling about you, and they're going to trust you or they're not based on that feeling. And so how do you make someone feel a certain way? The number one thing is what you say, what comes out of your mouth. And so what comes out of my mouth in every sales situation is a script. And I know that sounds cheesy. I know that sounds like 1990s, whatever, but no, a script is just a series of questions in a methodical order. You're just asking questions in an order that you know you're going to follow because you've asked them a million times, you've practiced them a million times, and it causes the consumer to feel a certain way. It causes them to feel good. People feel good when they're talking. 101, when you're on the appointment, no matter what you're selling, the person who does the most talking loses. In other words, if the salesperson is doing the most talking, they're going to lose the sale. The customer has to do all the talking, which means I have to do all the asking. If I do all the asking the right questions in methodical order, the customer's doing all the talking, they're feeling good about me. They feel good about me, they're going to hire me.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Looking back, was getting into it at a young age an advantage or a disadvantage? Obviously, it's an advantage for you, but those that are, I want to get into real estate, I'm not sure about college. Mm-hmm. Is there a certain path now?
Well, there's an upside and a downside to it. The upside is like today. I mean, it's crazy to think about it. I'm 42 years old and I have 24 years experience, right? Like there's not many 42-year-olds with 24 years experience in any industry.
No.
I just turned 42, by the way, this week.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. I liked my 30s, so I'm not too proud to be my 40s, but I'm all right with it. So the upside is, listen, like when I was 28 years old, I already had 10 years experience, and that was very much helping me secure business. Otherwise, people wouldn't maybe trust someone who's 28 years old because they think they only have a couple years experience. And so I had 10 years experience. So that's the upside of it. The downside of it is If your social and your communication skills are not strong at age 18, at age 19, at a young age, then you're probably better off sticking with college or sticking with something that's going to teach you how to sell. And so I recommend to young professionals all the time that come in and say, hey, what do you recommend? I'll send them to sell cars, or I'll send them to sell retail for a couple of years before they get into real estate to help them build their communication skills.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We were always taught to, as soon as that customer walks in the door, break the awkwardness.
Yeah.
Break the awkwardness.
Yep.
So at 21, you took a Coldwell Banker office from 10 agents to 40?
Yeah, Coldwell Banker Schweitzer Livonia. It was a failing office. They were getting ready to close it. And at 21, I thought I had it all figured out. And I'm like, I can run this office. And so we did turn it around. 2 years in a row, it became the fastest growing office, and they had 16 offices in Metro Detroit. And I turned it around, and I won 2 years in a row the fastest growing office award.
Wow. What year was that?
That was 2005 and 2006.
And then you left to open up your own in 2008?
Yep. So I
During
opened,
one of the worst markets.
Yeah, correct. Jeff Glover and Associates, we opened our doors that's essentially when, today it's called Glover Agency, but that's when it started. That's when I started building this company.
So how was that? What did your family say at the time?
Well, a lot of people thought I was crazy because it was the worst. I mean, you don't even have to be in real estate to know that 2008, 2009 were the worst years in like the history of the last 50. Yeah. And so, but I just kind of always believe that when things are down, those who are skilled and strong actually provide more value, and you actually end up attracting more clients or more agents or whatever it is. So I actually believe that the bad market helped me.
Pushing the corner.
Yeah.
When did you stop thinking like a top agent and start thinking like a business owner?
Once I discovered that my passion is really developing people, like above all, like listing and selling real estate is great, but once I learned that I actually enjoyed developing others, I started thinking about, okay, how can I do this more? How can I replace my income of listing and selling real estate by developing others? And that's when I created Glover U.
Awesome. You were named number one top workplace in Michigan by Detroit Free Press.
Yeah.
An industry famous for chewing people out. How did you get there?
Well, yeah, we win all the culture awards and everything. It's, I believe in this philosophy. If your people are learning, growing, making money, and having fun, you'll retain and you'll attract the type of people that you want to be in business with. And so our mission is live unreal. People, sometimes see this live unreal thing. Our mission and our definition of live unreal, living a life so amazing that it's almost unbelievable. And so we focus on that area first with our associates, so that way people actually enjoy what they do and who they do it with day in and day out. And everything's like, hey, was that an unreal experience? Is that truly going to be unreal for our associates? Is that really something that's unreal? Like unreal is supposed to be something you can feel. Like, yeah. Wow, that was emotion. Unreal, right? Like where everyone says they've got good culture and good this and good that, like no, it needs to be something that people can feel. And so we started with the premise of if they're learning, growing, making money, and having fun, then that will help us have an unreal culture, which will lead to agents living unreal lives.
So it's 2026. Managing people is like a toss-up for a lot of people. You've grown a small agency into a large agency. How do you manage people other than your credo, should we say? Because how important is it for growth and consistency and quality? Mm-hmm. Can you talk more about that? Yeah, everyone seems very happy in here, by the way, when we walked in.
Yep. The biggest thing that a lot of leaders fail to do is regular one-on-ones. Like we have a saying here, it should never be a surprise when an agent or an associate is leaving the company. If it's a surprise, then that means we failed. Because if we're having regular one-on-ones, so we're very big on business plans. So we have an annual business plan. We have monthly business plan reviews to help our associates with their progress towards their plan. We have monthly sales meetings where it's very like high level sales training, marketing training. And those one-on-ones are very underrated. I think that's probably the biggest area where leaders fail. Like they're not having enough one-on-ones with their people. And so probably the right amount is 2 a month. When we first started the company, it was 1 a week for 20 minutes everyone got. Today, it's 2 a month for 20 minutes each. And that seems to be the sweet spot. But a lot of leaders, they do quarterly reviews or semi-annual reviews, and those are one-on-one. That's not enough. It's got to be a couple times a month that you're meeting with your people. And people say, well, Jeff, with a big company, how do you do it? Well, you have layers of leadership, right? So, the top leader takes the top 20%, and then the middle level, it depends on the size of your company, but it doesn't have to be the business owner doing all the one-on-ones. It can be leadership.
Yeah, because the exit interview, it's too late. What's the point?
Yeah,
now we're going to listen to you.
At that point, if it's a surprise, then you weren't having a meeting with them enough.
When you recruit or when you were recruiting, what's the one thing that you're looking for beneath the resume, beneath the production and numbers in a person?
Someone who's coachable is number one. It doesn't matter whether they've got 10, and that, by the way, for years and years, that's why our company was built on new agents, because experienced agents always brought bad habits, thought they had it all figured out. No, I'm not going to do it your way. I'm going to do it my way. New agents didn't know any better. So we were known as the place. I mean, even before Glover U existed, people knew for years, if you want to be a successful real estate agent, you go to have Glover train you, because that's what we specialized in. Taking new agents and getting them productive quickly. And I mean, like, from $0 to six figures in like 18 months, which is unheard of in the industry. Today, we are finding that there's a nice group of productive agents that are open-minded and that are coachable. And so now I would say the majority of the agents that join us today, maybe it's because our company's a little bit more mature, we've been around longer, whatever, people trust us more. And Glover U obviously helped with that, with the training I do around the country. Today, we're finding a lot of coachable producing agents that want to be a part of what we're doing. So coachable is number one.
What's the hardest year you've had in business, and what made it so hard?
The hardest year we had in business was probably during COVID, just dealing with everything that was going on, plus everyone's emotions, and trying to reinvent the way we do real estate, keeping people plugged in, keeping people plugged into the industry. We had to reinvent ourselves very fast. I mean, everything went on Zoom. Our sales meetings were all virtual. We had Friday happy hours at 5:00, where everyone was at home with their families, but we were still on a Zoom for an hour with all of our associates. I mean, we tried to do a lot of unique things during those years to keep everyone plugged in. So that was probably the toughest year.
Yeah, it's super emotional. I prefer the face-to-face.
Oh, without question. Same.
Yeah. What's the cost of being the number one guy that nobody warns you about?
What's the cost of being the number one guy that no one warns you about? Well, without question, everyone's always going to be on your tail. And it is harder to stay at number one than it is to get there. It's easier to get there. It's harder to stay. We've been the number one home selling team in Michigan for 11 out of the last 12 years. So I think we lost it 1 year or two, maybe it's 11 out of 13 years. Anyways, the point is, because everyone's seeing what we're doing and they're trying to mold their business similar to ours. And so we just have to make sure we're always innovating. So by the time they figure out the way we do things, we've got a new method that we've added in. And so hardest thing is staying number one once you get there.
So talk about learning new stuff that's coming out. Let's say AI, this is happening in this state or this country. Are you always learning new stuff that you could bring to your business to make your people better?
Oh yeah, we're always innovating. But we also have to make sure that our core business model is the mistake a lot of real estate companies make is they're always changing their core business model every 3 or 4 years, which we just stick to what we know. And that's teaching sales skills, teaching people how to prospect, teaching lead follow-up, and then everything else gets layered on top of that, whether it's marketing, social media, video, AI.
What's the biggest mistake you see top producing agents making over and over, even after they've made it?
I would say the biggest mistake is, they let their ego get in the way and they start spending money way too fast and they start hiring way too fast. They think that just because they had a couple good years that they can run a team or run a brokerage, and they quickly learn that the money is in sales. They quickly learn that babysitting real estate agents and babysitting staff is not the highest and best use of their time. But the thing is, everyone is so flattered by the fact that everyone wants to work with them, so they just hire anybody. And then they start this company, they start this team. The number one thing they think, I'm going to make money off all these agents. All these agents are now going to be paying me instead of that other guy. Well, here's the deal. Sure, they're going to be paying revenue to your company, but you're going to pick up far more expenses than you ever imagined, and your bottom line will probably shrink for the first few years. And most people don't plan for that.
I know 2 people like that locally. During COVID, a lot of people thought they could do that. They realized this is much bigger than just having people work for you.
Correct.
Yeah. At 22 years old with no money, no contacts, no degree, someone walks into your office, what's the first thing you'll tell them?
I'll tell them that if you're willing to be a salesperson, I can teach you how to listen and sell real estate. And so what does it mean to be a salesperson? You have to be willing to learn scripts. You have to be willing to write scripts. You have to be willing to chant scripts. You have to be willing to role play scripts. If you're willing to do those 3, I'll teach you the scripts and I'll give you the schedule. I'll give you the plan. Bring coachable and a work ethic to the table, you'll be fine.
Beautiful. Most people start a business never break that 250K mark. What's the wall that they're hitting that they don't even see?
Well, they expand too quickly before they've really, I think a lot of entrepreneurs leave money on the table because they start expanding long before they've ever maximized their own personal potential. And so for me, like for instance, people see, back in the day, everyone saw our billboards and radio ads and TV ads, and we still do a lot of advertising today. It's mostly social media, but I didn't spend $1 on advertising until our revenue was over $1 million. And so you really got to first maximize what you can do as an individual before you start expanding.
Because a lot of people just say, if I get a billboard, if I start dressing like this, if I start doing that, then their money's gone, no cash flow.
Correct. And 1 or 2 billboards is not, you got to have 10 billboards. 1 or 2 radio stations is not, you got to have 5 radio stations. That's the thing. Everyone sprinkles around. You got to find something, go all in on it.
Is it today in this market, is it okay to start a business? If so, why is it the right time?
Oh, without question. As long as you can solve a problem, you got to be willing to solve a problem. And so, for me, when I first started, the problem was I went after homes that expired. And so I solved their problem. Their home didn't sell. There's a problem, I'm the solution. So as long as you're crystal clear on what problem you're solving, it makes sense to start a business.
You sell about over or under 100 homes a year?
So in the last 10 years, I've averaged over 100 a year.
100 a year. Yep. And then your team sells over 1,000?
Just around 1,000. Some years it's just over 1,000. Some years it's just under. We've basically been between 900 and 1,100, the last 5-7 years.
That's incredible. What does the average agent fundamentally not understand about this business that you see every day?
That you have to treat it like a sales business and be willing to prospect every single day, no matter how busy you get. In other words, you have to think about every day where your next client is going to come from. You can't think about the current clients that you have all the time. You have to split your day up into 2 parts. The morning is for finding, the afternoon is for servicing.
So don't get comfortable.
No.
For someone buying or selling a house in 2026, what's the question they should be asking their agent that they're probably not?
Well, if they're selling, the number one question that they should be asking their agent is how much time that agent is putting into lead generation and marketing to find buyers for their home. Because most are not. Most are just putting it on the MLS and waiting and seeing what happens. So ask the agent, how much time are you going to put into lead generation and marketing to find buyers for my home? And what specifically are you going to do? Make them tell you what they're going to do. That's if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, the number one question is, talk to me about your availability because we need to get into homes quickly. If I need to see something on short notice, can we do that? And number 2, tell me about your negotiation tactics to get an offer accepted. We're seeing multiple offers again, and so what are your negotiation tactics that you're using to get offers accepted? Give me details, give me specifics. If I'm a buyer, I want the answer to that.
So that sounds like you're setting the right expectation in the front with the seller or the buyer. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like a lot of people aren't doing that? Then when it comes at the end, because they didn't plant that seed in the beginning, it's harder to have those conversations.
Well, yeah, if the agent isn't doing a buyer consultation, okay, then yeah, there's a missed opportunity there. Same thing with the seller.
Okay. And then what is the most overrated piece of business advice that you hear?
Overrated business advice? Overrated business advice is that you have to, build your network and attend networking events to become successful. That's not true. For years I called networking events not working because it's just where people use an excuse to go meet people and shake hands and have a glass of wine or a bourbon or something like that, when really that method is going to take several years and you're going to cap yourself with how much you could do because that audience is only so big.
So you have a lot of tools and resources that I've learned from you. Is there anything that you offer that people can watch or listen to you so they could be better to open up a business?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously they can always follow us, follow me at Realtor Jeff Glover or follow at Glover U Coaching. Even though it's real estate related, it applies to anything. But the number one value, I believe we've got about 27,000 agents signed up for this currently. And that is, I write a daily message every day, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday. I'm writing a message designed to help people list and sell more real estate. Even if you're not listing and selling real estate, those messages are very business and marketing related. So it doesn't really matter what the industry, you'd probably get value from those messages. And I send that out every day via email. To sign up, people can text the word morning to 55444. So if they text the word morning to 55444, that's how you'll get it.
And we'll drop that in the description as well. Thank you.
Yep, you bet. Thanks for having me.